anger out and deal with me
Yeah,
because of, it was just devastating to my life at that time.
yeah, yeah. Mr. Knight, you hear that?
It was. What comes to me as far as dealing with sickness with a loved one, or even yourself or whatever, what comes to me is all sickness is not unto death, you know. So, you know, just because this was sick, you sick, you know, speak positive to yourself, you know, speak the word. You know, I shall live and not die, you know, just because people going through things, sometimes we get nervous, and even ourselves, we go to the doctor, ain't even got there yet, and we nervous, and it could be this, it might be this, we ain't even got to the doctor yet. We ain't even got no results or nothing, you know, dealing with some things myself that I put out for a couple of years, you know, and made an appointment actually today. But I'm just trusting God. Ain't nothing I can do but trust God. You know, either you trust God or you don't. That's just how it is, you know.
But I gotta go back to what, okay, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, a point that I just recently got, that the Lord was dealing with me about, is I got to the point, especially all this death that was going on back to back. I actually was kind of waiting, like, what's the next thing? My mind started going towards that. And then when another person died, it was like, now what's next? And then they had that accident, it was like, now what's next? And when I asked the third time, what's next? It came to me and said, what are you learning from this? It's not what's next, what are you learning from this? And the most important thing that I learned from this, and I'll speak for myself, is I felt I wasn't as close or understanding to my family as I should have been. And I changed some things. We don't know which family member gonna go tomorrow, next year, or whatever. I just started changing some things. I said, put some things to the side, this foolishness, stuff you don't understand. Okay, we always gonna bump heads on something. We're not alike. And that just started coming to me. I was like, I don't know what my time is. And that, to see the Lord, I think the Lord let me see a lot of things with these things that happened like back to back, they were happening. Uncle William, he passed, and then she passed on his day. And then here we go to take her out to the and here go an accident. It was like he was trying to show us something. Family's not always gonna be around. It's not always gonna be around. So treat them like you got some sense while you can. Don't wait till they die and then everybody wanna cry, oh Lord, I should have did this, I should have said this, I shouldn't have said that, whatever. And I just think it's more, to me, it was a learning experience. Learn how to love your family. We're talking so much about what you don't like or what you don't disagree with and stuff. It's gonna be there. There's nothing you can do about that. Like she said, it's gonna be there. So.
I want to go back to what Deaconess Parks said. These things come up, and the devil gravitates to them. And I'm speaking personally. Gravitates. When you see, and I'm going to be transparent for a moment. When you see your best friend go down, I'm going to be your best friend. I ain't talking about a friend, I'm going to be your best friend. Go down, all kinds of stuff he feeds in your mind. And I won't go into detail when he feeds my mind periodically. And I got to do like as I instructed you all, periodically I got to go and sit down, chill out, and let God talk to me. Because when your best friend go down, when you know your best friend been going and now your best friend ain't moving like they used to move, it's tough. I don't know if I should say this or not. No, thank you. It's tough. But guess what? God does give strength. When the devil feeds our minds, even what we see, he'll feed our mind on even what we see. And he'll take us through what we see. And I got you. He takes us through what we see. But when we settle ourselves and let God talk to us, things get better. Things look better. And that's why I wait to comment on this, because that you see your best friend go down. and you want your best friend to get back up, to be your best friend and to be like your best friend was. It's tough. It's tough. Yes, ma'am.
I was just gonna say, sometimes we need to, I think sometimes we need to actually recognize who the devil is, not just the spirit. It can be a person in front of us, like a friend, a coworker, family member, whoever, kind of like feeding into your ear, speaking negatively. So I think we need to kind of recognize who the devil is. It's a mental thing, yeah, but it also can be a human form. Like someone may be sick. It don't have to be just sickness. It can be like, job, personal lifestyle issues, things like that. So someone can be like, oh, yeah, I love such and such, but I don't think they're gonna make it. Stuff like that. We kind of have to heed towards that and, kind of hear God say, like, that's the devil. You need to kind of separate yourself from them until they get themselves together. Or, whatever he may say to you. Not everything he says to me he may say to you, but, just kind of separate yourself from the devil and let him know, we're going to win this battle, whether it goes this way or this way. So, that's what I would say.
Good. Yes, ma'am.
The main thing we need to focus on is everything is in God's hands.
Everything.
And it's in His will, whatever happens in our lives. It's all in His will. And sometimes He's trying to get us all close to Him too.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes.
It's many things He may be saying to us.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Particular thing. He may be trying to get us close to Him because we don't know when our time is.
Yes.
Our days are numbered.
They are.
Yes.
In Psalm 139.
Yes,
Our
it is.
days are numbered. So we just need to be ready. That's
Yes.
what I said it on Facebook. You gotta be ready when you come.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wanna comment on something you just said, then I want you to read. Then I'm done. It's all in God's hand, and it's His will. This is the tough part we gotta learn to do, to accept His will. To accept His will. That's the toughest thing, or one of the toughest things. Let's say it like that. One of the toughest things is to accept His will. His will. And it's amazing. I'm just, inwardly, I'm just jumping up and down because the Lord has dropped it in my spirit. It's His will. It's not our will, it's His will. And we have to accept whatever His will is. And I said, okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna be
You
quiet.
need to?
This what came to me too, the other week is, as you saying, accept God's will. This came back to me, reminded me of Jesus when He's about to be crucified. He said, Lord Jesus, let this cup pass from me, but nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done. He was ready to die. He said, not my will, but your will be done. He's ready to go through.
Yeah.
So that's how we are. We were like, oh Lord, please, I don't want to go through this. I don't want to go this, but nevertheless, not my will, but your will be done.
Yes.
His will got this. It's gonna be done.
Yes.
So like you said, we have to accept it.
Yeah.
And He accepted it.
Yeah.
We had to go through, and
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
that's a prime example.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, we talked about the sickness, but there's also the part where it says people rejecting us. We doing all we can, just because we don't do what they want us to do, we get rejected. And the other thing is losing everything you own. If you start losing stuff that you own, that's devastating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That could play on your faith and everything else too. Along with sickness.
Yeah.
So it ain't just the sickness, it's the other stuff that goes on.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. That's true. I'm gonna let Jada read this, and I'm done. Romans 12:2.
New American Standard says, and do not be conformed to this world, but be
Oh,
transformed.
stuff. When he talks about do not be conformed to this world, he means don't think like the world. Go ahead.
But be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may prove what the will of God is.
There goes the will. that we may prove what the will of God is. Wow. Wow.
Which is good and acceptable and perfect.
That's it. Now watch this. His will is good and acceptable and perfect. God knows what he's doing. God is sovereign. He is in control. All right. I'm going to conclude. I went into overtime, but it was good overtime. Good overtime. I thank you for your inputs. Next week we'll start on page 108. 108. Thank you again for your input.